All right, hey everybody. So I made two videos on augmented chords and whole tone scales and how the two kind of relate. So the first one was on Stella by Starlight. There in the middle of the tune, it goes to an augmented chord and you know what you do over that and how you can use a whole tone scale there and some augmented triads. And then the last video I made was about as a soloist, you can change dominant chords into augmented dominant chords. You can raise the fifth degree and dictate the harmony, even if the rhythm section player is not doing it. And I gave you an example on a 3-6-2-5 progression as well as a 2-5 progression. So today I want to talk about a third application of the whole tone scale or the augmented scale or the augmented chord. It's going to relate more towards the scale usage though, the whole tone scale. So if you're not sure what the whole tone scale is, check those other videos out, but it's basically the name is what the scale is. Every note of the scale is a whole step away from the other. So that sounds like this. So that would be a concert F whole tone scale. And there's really only two. There's two whole tone scales, and they just start on different pitches. Kind of like the idea with there's really only one chromatic scale, but it starts on, 12 different pitches. So anyway, here's my last application, and this is a harmonic application, like a progression application. And I've talked about this before, but the progression is when we start a tune on one major and then go to a two dominant chord. Now, I'm using the example of Watch What Happens, and I did a short on Watch What Happens maybe about a week ago, but that tune is this, and here's the beginning. So I'm playing it in concert E flat, but for tenor key, that's F. So it starts on the one major and then goes to two dominant. Now, normally a two chord in major is two minor, but this is a 5 of 5. It's a secondary dominant, and it has normally a sharp 11. So it would be, and a lot of times a 13. That would be kind of the voicing. And then you get these two triads. You get an A major triad over a G triad. And again, I've done videos on this, pretty standard sound. But how does the whole tone scale fit in there? Well, if you think about the whole tone scale in relationship to the chord, G, there's my root of the G9. A, that's my ninth. A B, that's a third. C sharp is the sharp 11. So already we've got notes that are the chord scale within the chord. Now, if I just put in a D sharp instead of a D natural, that would make it an augmented chord with a sharp 9. Here's my flat 7, because it's a dominant chord, and then my G. So I'm really only altering one note to allow there to be the whole tone scale there. So it's a pretty easy switch and addition. But let me play a little bit in the beginning of this, and I'll just kind of show you what this sounds like. So here we go. 1, 2, starting here. 2, 3, and. Okay, and then it would go into the B section. So that sound is a very particular kind of sound. Now, I normally, and again, on other videos, I've done this before. I've talked about the use of the jazz minor there. The jazz minor is what I would normally use. Because it's a natural 9, I would go to the 5th degree and use a D minor it's melodic minor ascending if you're just the first time looking at these videos. But this whole tone scale is a very different sound. So let me do it the first time with the jazz minor, the melodic minor ascending, the D minor, and the second time through, I'm going to do it with the whole tone. And you'll hear the difference. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and. Do it one more time. See if you can hear the difference. So again, a very, very different sound, but when you've got a 2 dominant chord, you can use the whole tone scale and the augmented triad. I added a sharp 9, flat 9 there. So this is a great usage. Now, this is a really super common progression. I'm doing it on Watch What Happens, but the same kind of progression is in Girl from Ipanema. It's also in Take the A Train. It's also in Desafinado. Let me do a little bit of Take the A Train, and I'll do this whole tone there. So you see how it works. Now, I'm doing it in a different key, obviously. But what about Girl from Ipanema? Here you go. Let me try that one more time. So again, hopefully you get the idea. But this appears in a lot of tunes, and whenever you get to the 2 dominant chord here, you could use a whole tone scale. Now, is that my first choice? No. My first choice is the melodic minor ascending scale, the jazz minor, but based off of the 5th degree of the dominant chord. So again, I would use a D minor, D jazz minor there. That would be my first choice. But as a different sound, the whole tone scale and then implying the augmented chord here, it's a great sound and just something to add into your tool bag as a player. So that's my 3rd application of this whole tone augmented chord thing. So hope this helps.